So, what does it really take to stage a comeback in your life? It's not just about grit and willpower. There's a framework to it. We've taken some incredibly powerful insights and boiled them down into a clear, actionable path for transformation. So let's jump right in.
This one always hits hard, right? The core idea here is just radical ownership. I mean, think about it. The house you're in, the relationships you have, your entire physical reality, it's all a result of choices made by a past you. But here's the thing that's so powerful about this. If a past you created this, then the you of this very moment has the power to create a completely different future.
All right, so here's the game plan, our roadmap for engineering that comeback. We're calling it the ascending path. We're going to start by taking ownership of our reality, then we'll move to winning the war inside our own minds. From there, we'll turn our intentions into real action, find our deeper purpose, and finally get to a state of true freedom.
Okay, first up on the ascending path, your reality, your creation. This is all about looking at where you are right now, without judgment, without blame, and just accepting it. It's the absolute necessary first step to getting where you want to go. You can almost think of life as this dance between two partners, fate and free will. Fate, well, that's the hand of cards you're dealt. You can't change the family you were born into or your circumstances. But free will, that's how you play the hand. And that, right there, is where all your power is. The real story of your life isn't about where you started. It's about the choices you start making from this moment on.
All right, that brings us to stage 2, winning the inner war. Because let's be real, before you can change anything out there in the world, you have to conquer the battlefield that's inside your own head.
Okay, check this out, because this is where it gets really interesting. It's the sheer power of our own language. That little word can't, it seems so small, but it's deadly. It literally defeats you mentally before you even start the work. But just shifting that internal script, not denying that something's hard, but just saying, okay, this is hard, but I can figure it out, that tiny change changes everything.
And look, this isn't just some feel-good idea. It's backed by actual data. People who physically write down their goals are a staggering 42% more likely to achieve them. So why such a massive jump? Well, because the act of writing it down forces you to be clear. It takes a fuzzy wish and turns it into a concrete target. You're literally programming a new reality for yourself.
This quote just nails it, right? Think about it like this. Imagine a marathon runner. At mile 18, their body is absolutely screaming at them to stop. But the race is only truly over the second their mind finally says, I can't finish. The mental battle always comes first.
So you've got the mindset sorted. Now what? Well, that's where we hit stage 3 of the path. Action is the currency. This is where all that good intention actually meets the real world through deliberate, disciplined effort. When you hear the term work ethic, you probably just think of grinding, right? But it's so much more than that. It's the actual currency of respect. When you put in the work, on a skill, on your health, on yourself, you're proving your own value to yourself. Real self-esteem doesn't come from compliments. It's forged by what you prove to yourself through your own actions.
And the process itself? It's actually surprisingly simple, even if the work itself is tough. It really breaks down into 3 key steps. First, you decide with absolute clarity who you want to become. Second, you start acting like that person today. You model the behavior of your future self right now. And third, as you keep taking those actions day in and day out, your external reality will have no choice but to start shifting to match that new identity.
Okay, so your mindset is dialed in, you're taking action. But what about those days when you just don't feel like it? We all have them, right? What keeps you going when motivation disappears? Well, that brings us to stage 4, discovering your deeper why. This is the fuel that will get you through the long haul. Now this is a really deep idea. So let's unpack it. When your motivation is about something bigger than just you, when you're truly aiming for the highest possible good you can imagine, it creates this kind of gravitational pull. It naturally starts to organize your life, and almost like magic, it begins to draw the people and the resources you need right to you. So let's just stop for a second and ask this question, and I mean really ask it. What is the actual, tangible benefit of staying stuck, of giving up, of letting fear win? When you're truly honest with yourself, you start to realize the cost of doing nothing is so much greater than the risk of moving forward.
And this is the fundamental shift. This is the real game changer. The moment you move from asking, what can I get from the world, to what can I give to the world, you've changed the entire game. You go from pure ambition to deep meaning. And the craziest part is, it's in the act of giving that you end up finding everything you were looking for. And all of this, every step we've talked about, it leads us here, to the final stage on the path, living in true freedom. This is the culmination of the entire journey. It's an internal state of being that's the real goal of any comeback.
So what does this freedom actually feel like? Well, it's a state of mind where you have nothing left to prove to anyone. You have nothing to protect because your self-worth is not on the line. You have nothing to hide because you're living your truth. And you have nothing to defend because you are just secure in who you are. And man, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Just imagine living with that level of inner security. That is true freedom, when you are so anchored in who you are that what other people think, whether it's good or bad, just doesn't have the power to knock you off your center.
So, we'll end with this one final thought. Maybe life isn't about finding some hidden universal meaning out there somewhere. Maybe, instead, life is constantly asking you a question. And every choice you make, every action you take or don't take, that's your answer. So the only real question left is, what's your answer going to be?